I met Mike Tyson today. You read that right. How fucking cool is this? I mean, let me just give you the backstory right now. Mike Tyson is opening up a school for kind of more of a proper educational system where you're not learning based upon tests and how well you can memorize information, but you are actually learning useful information like how to read a balance sheet and structure your taxes and learning a lot of these basic skills. I met the guy who is running all of these school systems, and he's really trying to start a revolution. So who did I go with? I went with Robert Kiyosaki and Ken McElroy. So that is so cool. And the kids are actually learning what Rich Dad Poor Dad was all about, how to work for yourself and start a business. So they are trying to encourage these kids to actually start businesses and formulate a next round of capitalists instead of just employees. And I was asking Ken in the car when we were driving over, I was like, how did the school system fail you? And he said, well, the school system trained me to be an employee. Me getting terrible grades and not listening is what almost allowed me to be where I am today. And he said, you know what, Josh? He said, I need the A students. He said, they're the CPAs that are doing my taxes. They're the doctors when I get sick. They're the lawyers when I need something done. He said, but they're working for me. And I just thought that was funny. And so Mike Tyson comes in with this just incredible demeanor. I mean, he's the funny bastard. He is really freaking funny. He would just say things. He was obviously smoking high off mushrooms, but he would just say things that were just absolutely hilarious. They went live with TMZ, I think, while a little event was going on. And the dude is really, really funny. Man, and you know what's funny? I'm doing a video for the people that don't know every single day for 1,000 days, and I'm on day 100 and something. And I was just thinking for 5 to 10 minutes, what the hell can I talk about today? It's like, I don't know what to talk about. And then I realized I fucking met Mike Tyson today. It's crazy. It is crazy. I didn't really get to talk to him too much. He was super busy. I mean, obviously, he was opening up the school. The environment was we were actually in a boxing gym. This was an entire like a little event that was recorded. I wore this, and then I realized every other person in there was wearing like a full suit. I was like, Kenny, what the hell's wrong with you? You didn't tell me I was going to embarrass myself here. And the senator was there. Apparently, of course, Ken knew all of the senators and governors, and he told me some stories about that I cannot share with the internet. But I will say he is a extraordinarily libertarian-minded guy, pure capitalist, does not like the government. But I'm going to leave it there. But he is actually pretty good friends with the previous governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, because Doug Ducey was an entrepreneur, and then he started and became governor somehow. I don't know the story. I didn't know who he was. And so I was talking to Ken. This guy comes up, runs up, gives Ken this hug, and he's like, hey, dude, what's going on? And I'm chit-chatting back and forth. I'm joking around with the guy. Then he leaves. Then Ken taps him on the shoulder. He was like, how'd you like talking to Governor Ducey? And my jaw drops on the floor. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, that guy was the governor? He's like, yeah, for 8 years. I was like, what the hell? And then there was some other governor from Kentucky that I didn't hear of. Obviously, I don't like politicians, any of them. And I'm saying that because the way you get into power is by backpacking off other people and then just backstabbing others. It's a terribly gruesome game that I'm utterly disgusted by. I think they are some of the slimiest humans on the face of the planet. But apparently this guy was okay. I would still be very curious about that. That is besides the point. This new type of school system that is spurring up that I don't know the details and I don't know how well they are run, but if they are actually successful, because this guy says his dream and his goal is he's going to open up 1,000 of these across America and across the world, where kids are learning important things, where they are learning about business and how to grow a business and the importance and not being the traditional educational system that has, I think, failed so many people. It utterly failed me. I was in the position in school where I thought that I hated to learn. I thought it was egregiously boring and just, I got no benefit. I can't remember a singular thing that I learned in high school. And so it's such a good thing that other people are realizing these issues and they are now trying to solve it. That was actually one of my big dreams if I ever made a ridiculous amount of money at a young age. And once I do, I think retire, one of my goals was to open up a new sort of school system that was nothing like what we are currently doing from a learning standpoint. And I wouldn't even call it that. I don't learn by consuming. I learn by doing. It would more so be you learn something and then you apply it and you gain the skill. And I don't think having children by age is the proper way, because people are at different intelligent and maturity levels at different ages. I know that there were some people in my school who were way above the grade. They would ace every single spelling test, ace every single math test, ace every single test when we were in third grade. And it was super easy for them and they'd want to move ahead. And then there was people who could barely even pick their nose, and they were still trying to eat their boogers. So there's this huge divide, which I just don't think that's fair to anybody. Just because you're the same age, everyone gets to go to the same class. I think it should more so be based upon what you can actually do. But that's all besides the point. I'm just saying this is a great thing. And what's even better is we have decentralized education into a very, very large degree, where you don't need to go to school to be successful. All you need is a laptop and some internet, and you can learn anything at the touch of your fingers, and you can apply it instantly that same day, which is unlike anything any generation has ever had. So we're such fortunate people right now, living in such a remarkable time, which is often overlooked because it's a lot easier to point out what is wrong in the world and how messed up everything is. And even if those are accurate representations, I think for all of the bad that is potentially going on right now, and with all the technological advances and all the civilizational improvements that we've had, a lot of people just see the bad in it, which is fine. I mean, there is terrible risks, like the government having a central bank digital currency to where they can track every single thing that you do, and all of these things, and artificial intelligence that can track every single movement that you ever do. I understand. Trust me. That used to keep me up at night. It actually did. I would be scared shitless, thinking, "Oh my God, I should go bury myself in the backyard and just huddle up just so this doesn't happen, or just so the government can't track me." What way to live is that? And instead, I think actually using the technological advances and enjoying life is a much better way to go about it. Doesn't mean you should just let the government just bitch you around. No, I mean, you stand up for freedom and what you believe in. I don't care what somebody had an opinion on. I'll just use the examples of the vaccine mandates. I mean, it was the craziest time ever. And that was the one time I was dead set, if they mandated it for my state, I was in Massachusetts, or to do anything, or just for whatever reason. First, I was going to drive to Texas, and I was going to try and live with my buddy Justin, who I met, and we would make videos online. And you're better in numbers in that circumstance. And if that didn't work, I was going to drive to Mexico, and I was just going to live there, and I was just going to let it out, because there was a 0% chance at any point I would have allowed myself to get this injection. And regardless of what your thoughts are on the matter, those were my opinions. And I just can't believe that so many jobs were forcing people to get the jab, or that they had to quit. I even had a YouTube channel get taken down with one of my buddies, and I interviewed a doctor. His name was Chris Martins, and a lot of people might know he is. He's a big YouTube channel with Peak Prosperity. And we were just going over, I was just talking back and forth with him on one of my second channels that I had. What are the downside risks of this thing? And they didn't just remove that video. They took down my channel. And so this is such a side step, but that is just showing some of the downside risks of social media and the things that are going on, the censorship. Because of all the information that we are exposed to, people are also trying to disinform people. But I would rather, instead of just focusing 100% of my time on all the bad, just to focus the majority on the benefits that we have, while still being aware of some of the downsides. That I can't talk about some of my personal beliefs, because that is at risk of getting taken down by YouTube. And then I would, I guess, fail my challenge at that point. Even just saying the word jab, it was enough to get you banned off YouTube, which is just a crazy thing. Just take your personal bias out of the situation. Why is it that saying certain words ban you from apps? Does that not go directly against free speech? And you could say, okay, well, yeah, free speech is okay, but then that's a hate crime, blah, 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 blah. Just think about it. Regardless of what you're saying about it, if you say certain words, you can be banned, you can be fired from your job, you can be literally taken out of a school, out of a college because of things that people said in the past. At what point is that no longer free speech? I mean, you're tiptoeing on the line there. Okay, sure, you can say what you want, but with severe consequences. Anyway, not besides that's all beside the point. Hopefully this type of school system is what's fighting back against that, and Mike Tyson is really at the forefront, which is amazing to see someone in that position. I got to meet him, his wife Kiki, and just surreal. It is a surreal life that I'm fortunate to live. And then we drove Robert Kiyosaki home after, and if you don't know who he is, he wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's a very wealthy dude, and we drove into his neighborhood, and I'm not going to say what it is, but even though no one watches these videos, it was a jaw-dropping neighborhood. I'm sure not too many people are surprised. I know he has a plane. I'm literally driving his 1957 Porsche Speedster right now. So I'll just say his neighbor is the owner of the Angels baseball team, and the house was quite literally the size of a school. Robert's house was very nice as well, but nothing like that, guys. I mean, the people in that neighborhood, I would say the average house costed $15 million for the area that was in. Probably the nicest place in Arizona. And it was pretty cool. I've been to his house before, but that time we actually kind of drove around the neighborhood because we went into the gate and we had a pretty long way to go. His house is obviously beautiful, but the neighborhood is really a spectacle to see. Anyway, this was a weird ass video. I'm just the most fortunate human on the face of the planet, I guess. Hanging out with, I didn't really talk to Mike Tyson, but I met him. I gave him a good fist bump. Talked to his wife a little. Life is pretty spectacular.